Today has been a good day. My physics is going great, and well, maybe not the greatest for the physics part, but everything else I've done, I feel very accomplished. To start out, we did add in cube physics. So if I spawn in the cube, there's one. It is currently falling down very slowly, but it is. And when it hits the plane here, it just bounces, and then it'll eventually fall back down. And boom, basic physics integrated. Um, Now, my favorite thing about the physics in the cubes is that with this, I figured out how to make a physics manager so that uh, I initialize the physics in my load map when everything gets loaded, and then the cubes that actually call on that physics without having the physics passed to it. So what that means is when I spawn in the cube, it's like, hey physics, what do I do? And the physics is like, this is what you do. There's another cube. Um, Now, I did realize something with the cubes. So if I spawn in a few, that you saw right there that those two kind of just bounced. That's because if I hold down Q, they spawn in really fast. But before, they were all static and just spawned in one spot, so you couldn't really notice it until the time ticked by because it is randomized based on the time. So we get a bunch loading in the different spots. Um, and now my computer's angry at me because of how many cubes I loaded in. So the cubes have the physics integrated inside of their cubes class. I made a class just for the grass plane here, which is also 3 times bigger than it was before because I wanted a bigger plane. Um, so that has physics integrated into that. One thing that I spent a little bit of time doing this morning was the cubes right here. Um, so the cubes is a dynamic list of all the cubes in the world. So if I keep holding down Q and loading in more cubes, the cube count goes up. And if I scroll down all the way, and we have every cube loaded on this list. So one other thing I did with the cubes was I made it so that I could click the cube. If I do a control click, it'll push the cube in the direction I'm looking. Now I can also edit how much it pushes. Um, so I can edit the gravity as well. But if we go over to this cube here, and I put the click force all the way up and click it, it's just gonna keep going, and it's gone. Now another fun thing to play with is the gravity. So if I turn down the gravity, everything starts falling faster. Now I can also switch the gravity, and now everything flies up. Now if I just spawn in a bunch of things and let them all fly up out of sight,
1 hour later.
there's one, two, oh, there's a couple more. Well, the cube brain wasn't as spectacular as I was expecting. If I also wanted to, I can make all the cubes fly away in different directions. Buy cubes. So after I had my fun playing with the gravity, I did make the some of the physics properties for the cubes variable. Like when I spawn them in, there's the static or the friction coefficients, um, and something else, but it didn't seem to affect them too much, mostly because they're just falling and bouncing. So after I had finished the cube class and integrated the physics by making a physics manager, I had to rework um, the do waypoint a little bit, my waypoints, not too much. I had started out by passing in the physics information to the cube and to the waypoint to create a new cube, but obviously that wouldn't work if I was during the networking. So that's why I made the physics manager, um, because both instances of the game engine will have the physics, and the cube class can call on the physics manager for the physics information. And now I'm going to show that the networking still works. Alrighty, now that I have both of these loaded up, I'll go ahead and spawn in some waypoints. Each waypoint still takes about 10 seconds to load in, and then obviously it doesn't make sound when I load it in, but when I run through it after it's been first loaded in, it triggers and makes a sound. And then it should also create a cube in both instances, and obviously both of these cubes are exactly the same. So now if I also do one in here, we saw that this one loaded in one and this loaded in one. So both modules have the exact same layout when it comes to cubes.